but it's all love. So welcome to the community. If you've been rocking with me for a while, hey, thank you. We're 4 seasons deep, y'all. 4 seasons on the thing that I like never even thought I'd be doing. Look at how life be working. That's why I be telling y'all just do the thing, even if it's random.
Yeah.
But anyway, today I am here to talk to Amai, y'all. Now, Amai is someone that I met in like the artistic community. I have so many talented artists that I've encountered, not only like in my own journey, but especially since starting the Hot Girls Healing podcast, where, artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, Black, Indigenous people have a space to talk about our healing journeys, to talk about what is important with us. And this is that. Okay. This is an artist. This is someone who quite literally makes magic, a mother. Okay. She does it all, and I'm honestly impressed by her. I love her art. Like, definitely the creative spirit be moving. Okay. And there's enough creativity out here for all of us. Whatever is put on your heart to create, I think it's so important to follow that, because no one's lived your life but you. So whatever you're doing, you're gonna do in a way that only you can do. And Amai be doing that, okay? So I'm gonna let Amai introduce herself, because no one knows us better than us, than ourselves. And once she does that, we're gonna jump into transformation, evolution, and growth.
Yes. Thank you, Selena. I first want to say how honored I am to even be on this platform. I've listened to some episodes and everything feels in alignment and resonates with me. I appreciate what you do in community, and I'm just really happy to be here to share my story on this platform. It's very aligned and it's very appropriate for where I'm at in my journey. So thank you. Um, yeah, so my name is Amai. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I'm a mother. I'm a visionary. I'm a magician. I'm an alchemist. I'm a creator. I am a vessel for source to create through. I am, and I am all that I am. And I love this journey that I'm on. We're going to be talking about is transformation, which is pretty much my main focus in life is how can I ascend to the highest level possible in this lifetime. And so that's what a lot of my work reflects. I work in multiple mediums, and the story that I'm telling in multiple mediums is my growth and is my ascension. And yeah, that's just what I'm here to do, is to grow and ascend and to inspire others to do the same.
Oh, I love it. Yes. And you did just now what I love to do at the top of the episode, which is define what we're talking about, right? Because anyone can say transformation. What does that really mean? What does
Right.
it mean to evolve? What does it mean to grow? And so I love that you said that, because yeah, that's what it means to me too. It's this natural progression of you. It's not natural for us to be stuck or one version of ourselves for our entire life,
Mm-mm.
despite what somebody may say. It's okay to change. That's what you're supposed to do. We are living, breathing, evolving beings,
Right.
and that's what transformation means to me. It doesn't mean necessarily me you know going out and re-establishing my life, doing it all different, scrapping the board and starting over. When I say I'm about to pop out and it's gonna be a new me, see, imagine a more evolved version of me.
Mm-hmm.
Know that I'm still in there. I talk a lot about, my inner child, or I did another episode of the Hot Girls Healing podcast. We talked about origin stories,
Mm.
and the origin version of myself is also someone that I honor. So when I'm trying to change, I'm not saying that the core of me is bad or wrong, or I'm just this inherently messed up thing that needs to be made right. No. Part of me evolving is going back. Part of that evolution is reflection. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
transformation and becoming another version of yourself and allowing yourself to evolve doesn't, in my definition, mean that you know the other versions of yourself weren't worthy, because those versions of yourself are why you're here. Those versions of yourself wanted you to be who you are now, and also are connected to who you will be later. So when I'm talking about transformation, it's all of that.
Right, right. Yes, for sure. I think that transformation, I'm just going to touch a little bit on that. I love what you said about going back and reflecting. That takes a lot of looking within. I think that we're always worthy at no matter what state we're in our journey. Um, However, it also does take self reflection and accountability because sometimes versions of ourselves be preventing us from being our best selves. And when you can't look at the truth of that, it is very hard to evolve. So,
Hmm.
and you, but also while looking at the truth of that, you got to forgive that version of yourself and love yourself through that. Sometimes we don't know any better, but once we are able to look at those parts and we're able to make an assessment, an honest assessment with ourselves, then we can evolve fully. Sometimes we be holding ourselves back.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And walking ourselves into situations we know we didn't have no business in,
Hmm.
and all of that. And so for me, it's like, it can be like a nugget or a seed that's growing in you. Maybe
Yeah.
at first you are repeating a behavior and
Hmm.
that behavior ain't for you, but it doesn't start off with you being like, this ain't for me. It just starts off with like, that feels weird. I don't know. There's something that lingers
Hmm.
when I do
Hmm.
that behavior or when I find myself in that situation. And you just start to notice something. And then you start to think about that. Reflection. It's key.
Right. Right.
You got to spend a little bit of time with the thing that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah. A lot of time.
Hashtag
And
shadow work. Okay.
yes, yes. And what I've observed is that that is what holds a lot of people back from growth is that fear of being with the parts of themselves that they're not comfortable with, the truth of ourselves. And I had to do a lot of work around that. And I'm happy that I was able to do that. But I feel like that also, and I love that you used the analogy of planting a seed because the evolving body of work, my series Internal Growth, is literally utilizing that analogy of planting the seed. We are the seed, actually. So we're the ones that are growing, and we are the ones who are growing these things within ourselves. And so I think about that for me when as the seed. In order for us to grow, we have to be planted in dirt. We have to be planted in soil. That is darkness, and that is where you meet yourselves, and that's where you receive your gifts too. So once you can conquer whatever's in that terrain, then you're able to rise above that to light, is what I believe. So
So real.
mm,
And it takes a lot of reframing, and what holds us back, our environments, our comforts. I talk a lot about how you have to do what makes you uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable or only sticking to what was comfortable for me kept me in toxic situations. What if you're comfortable in toxic situations? Nice. You know what I mean? Like, we got to think about this because what I was comfortable with, I am not comfortable with now.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Same.
So get uncomfortable. I mean, we were even talking about before filming. I'd be uncomfortable if I got to drive somewhere new. Okay,
Right.
like I would let that stop me in the path. It's new.
Hmm.
I don't want to. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. And I think that from what also I've observed within myself and people around me, what's uncomfortable about the new thing is it's unknown. It's an unknown outcome, so it's just more so a fear of what is ahead because you don't know what it is. And so you just got to move fearlessly, and know that whatever happens is going to happen. And sometimes the things that we want to happen, if they don't turn out the way they're supposed to turn out, we are able to recognize things within ourselves that we didn't even know we had, because when we're challenged, we don't realize what we're capable of in situations that we have never experienced before. You don't know what you can do, you don't know what your gifts are, your abilities are, unless you're faced with challenges, that um, force you to unlock your own gifts and your own potentials. And if you don't have those challenges, you'll just be stagnant.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
one thing I've learned.
Those challenges do help. It's like you have tools, as you're going through these changes, as you're evolving as a person and growing. There's
Hmm.
always tools at hand. And I found that one of the tools that I actually had to strengthen was trust in myself to evolve. I had to know, like, what am I? What am I not? What am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? Why? These were not things that I just was inherently thinking about. And you got to be real intentional with yourself on this journey.
Yes, I love that you said trust yourself. We have a hard time doing that. And I believe that also has to do with society, what we're being told, what we're being fed. There's so much external noise that it's hard to hear the internal voice. And so for me, I don't know how you overcame that and how you began to develop that relationship with yourself where you're able to trust your intuition. But for me, it required solitude. It required
Yeah.
solitude and exclusion from the world, from people, and just being within myself. And, testing my gifts and my abilities and seeing the outcomes like, so when I do what I say, this happens and I like that outcome. But when I lean on other things that aren't my own, it doesn't work out the way I wanted to. So then doing that research in myself, I was able to be like, nope, I'm gonna go with me.
There really is an evolution that comes with that because you're just not always able to identify what you can identify after some challenges. We
Mm-hmm.
gain discernment. Like if I'm talking about my tools, it's trusting yourself and honoring the balance of coming in and out because that's where you get that discernment and that trusting yourself grows. Like, yeah, I spend a lot of time by myself because there's a lot of influence in the world. And you can get to a point where again, you don't know why you're
Mm-hmm.
doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Is this even me? Where did I learn this? Where did I pick this up? When did I start implementing it? These are some of the questions I was asking myself because we get caught up in just going,
Yeah.
doing, jump into the next thing and the next thing. I've had situations in my life where I'm like, how did I end up here?
Mm. Girl, tell me. Ooh.
You know what I mean? And it was in that balance of coming in and out of community because, community is necessary. But you don't got to figure everything out in community, baby.
Mm-mm.
I don't even think that's appropriate.
It's really
Community, they not even trying. They're not equipped. They
not.
can't. Only
Not.
you can do certain things for you.
Yeah, it's your own. Everybody has an individual journey. We all have an individual purpose. We all have individual reason for existence. So, not everybody's and not everybody in community has that same journey. So sometimes they're working through things that you're not working through. But also, I learned this too during through this evolution. You think you healed until you have to deal with other people in community. It's like, oh, I thought I worked on that, but you bringing up something out of me that I need to work on. So I think that yes and no. So yes, they're like we need to be in solitude. We need to get to the root of the problem and do that root work in ourselves in solitude. Then once we're able to get past that and we've developed enough skills within ourselves, then it's time for us to kind of like test what we've grown through and what we've learned in community, because some people will bring things out of you that you didn't know you need to work on. And so community is important for me in that aspect, and it's always important to be around, I think, like-spirited people too.
And that can also be hard because rounding back to comfortable, everybody you comfortable being around isn't actually vibing with you like that. They're not like I'm like sometimes the environments we come from, sometimes ones that we're used to being in really trip us up in that way. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking tools, I will say that another one for the the transformation and for the evolution has really been meditation for me, especially in growing my knowledge of okay, what is my inner compass and figuring that out. Meditation,
Mm-hmm.
huge for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say that is too something I cannot do without. Now, if I don't meditate, okay, this is what I've learned about me. Whatever's going on internally, it reflects in my external world. Like my house will be a mess. My car is a mess. Everything's a mess if I'm a mess, right? So like if I skip my meditations and I don't do it like I need to do it, I start having anxiety more, or I start having a lack of trust in the situation. My faith starts to waver because I haven't been able to be in that stillness. Meditation for me, and again, I believe that when people say meditation, it looks different for everybody. I don't believe there's a one certain way to do anything when it comes to evolution or ascending. it is a tailor-made personal journey to you. So the way you meditate, Selena, may look different than the way I meditate. And what works for you works for you, and what works for me works for me. So for me, meditation looks like waking up at 4 a.m. because I am a mother. So I think that a lot of times we make excuses of why we can't do things. You just got to make a way. I have to be up at 4 a.m. because I am a mother and I need to have at least 3 hours of solitude and to be with myself in order to take on this day and to do everything else. So waking up at 4 a.m. And when I wake up at 4 a.m., I cleanse my house. I start with sage, cedar, and cedar. I light sage, cedar, and palo santo. I play frequency music. I walk around my house with a sound bowl and I lift the frequency in my home and I project and I say all the things that I want to have. My home is a living, breathing place to me. When I leave my house, I say, "See you later, home. Hi, home." I make my son speak to the house. This place has housed us. It gives us shelter. I am grateful for my home. So it's very important for me that I put love into the space that has put love into me. So that's why every morning I give my home love and I clean it and I raise the vibrations. I play frequency music. And then after I do that, gratitude. Gratitude has been a very main component because there's so much to be grateful for. Breath, even, like there's people who can't breathe on their own, you know, there's people who can't walk. There's a lot of things. And just merely being able to walk. When I say I got to pay the rent, that's something I'm grateful I get to do. There's people who don't got a rent to pay because of where they living right now.
Oh,
They don't have rent, and it's an unfortunate situation. But even the problems that seem like problems, I'm grateful to have these issues because there's other people who don't have them, and I'm just like I'm happy to be in the situation where I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to take care of my home. So I walk around my home after I've done my frequency, raising the frequency with my Tibetan sound bowl. I walk around, I give gratitude. Thank you for my son. Thank you for the pillow. Thank you for the hot water. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for the pain. Thank you that I could feel that pain and I was able to feel something that was not comfortable enough to make me move, God. I give thanks for everything. Without pain, without rain, I wouldn't have been able to grow. So I give thanks for the trials and the tribulations and that I was able to find strength in myself to overcome that. So I give thanks for everything, you know? And so that has been one thing that has truly changed the way I perceive life. Gratitude has done so much for me. And the way I look at life is so different now because of my gratitude for life, my gratitude for this moment, this era that I was born in, my existence. It was not a mistake. And so I would really say to anyone who is looking at creating a routine for themselves, please implement gratitude. That would be the first place I would start. And sometimes it's very hard when you're in a lot and you don't know where what there is to be grateful for. So and then after gratitude, I do journaling and I journal about, what I would like or where I'm at in my journey. And then my meditation is sitting here at my altar and convening with source and surrendering and saying, "Hey, whatever it is you want me to do today, I let you work through me. I'm happy to be a vessel. I'm honored. I am worthy." A lot of people be like, "I'm not worthy. Thank you so." No, I am worthy. I am worthy.
period.
I'm.
So,
You chose me to be here in this life in this time. I am worthy to do the work that I'm meant to do in this lifetime. So I am grateful for that. And it's an honor to be in this position and in this role. So I sit there and I just and that prayer can go on for like 20 to 30 minutes or however long I moved. And then after that, that's my me time. I'm drinking tea while I'm doing that. And I'm able to go and shower. My son is still asleep, so this is all just my morning. I'm able to shower, love myself when I put my oils on, get dressed, take my time, listen to some music. That is my meditation. That is my morning every day. And if I'm not able to do that every day, the world around me reflects that I'm not grounded. If that makes sense.
no, it makes so much sense. And I love that you described how you meditate because meditation is something that I find can be deeply personal to how people do it, how long, how often, where. I love organized meditation and routine meditation. I try to meditate, actually not for very long. I like to meditate with breath. So I'll take 3 breaths every morning where I am welcoming miracles and opportunities and um, favors. I like to meditate throughout my day. For me, I'm called to to honoring the feeling. When you said you do things until the feeling tells you, that you good. And that is me. I feel like I ride a wave. Gratitude is a huge part of grounding me. I too be happy about paying rent. And that's actually something that's newer to me. Gratitude is something, a practice that I've been building. Um, and it's been huge. It has been so impactful in my life to just be grateful. It brings you into the present moment and it slows you down. And that's the thing that helps me personally jump out of this system that has been built around us and into what is real. Slowing down, then I'm like, okay, this is what is actual and factual. And then all this other shit is made up. Okay. So we can then prioritize and we can respond appropriately and we can regulate as needed. And so meditation is something that I find myself doing throughout the day. I connect it to breath. I deeply connect meditation to yoga, which is something that I'm studying deeper right now as I work towards my 200-hour teaching certificate. I've found through my studies with yoga that meditation is pretty root to the yogic practice, and that knowledge alone really it shifted something for me actually. And so that I value meditation even more as a way to like cleanse, regulate, connect, expand, hear yourself, get to know yourself better, connect to the divine, get to know its voice clearer. Because again, there's a lot of influence out there. So it's about choosing who and what you want to listen to, what you want to be aligned with, what you want to vibrate with. And meditation helps you get in alignment with that.
Yes, definitely agreed. And one thing I want to add, because this ties into my internal growth series and with meditation. So my internal growth series is a transmedia series, but the foundation of it started as a visual. It's a visual series, self-portrait photography, and then I utilize Photoshop to create these images of myself in full bloom. And that started with chakra meditation. So before I created this routine that I just shared with you, which is my own personal routine, I was able to develop that routine after unblocking each of my chakras. And then I did that. And then I was like, okay, well, I've done this. Now let me create something that's tailor made to me. And so what I did was, we have seven. Are you familiar with the chakras at all?
Yeah, I'm not like deep in it though, and we don't know in the audience, so please do let us know.
Yeah, so what the chakras are, they're seven energy points within our body. They start at the base of the spine, all the way out through the top, which is your crown. The crown is what connects you to the source of life, all that is, all that will be. And in order for us to reach enlightenment, it is really important to work on unblocking those chakras because it does um, positively enhance and affect the ways that we show up in life, how we experience life. And so, for example, the root chakra, that is where we start at the base of the spine. A person whose root chakra is blocked may have a lot of anxiety in life, may be fearful and not know where they're going. They don't have any grounding. The root is what grounds you into the earth and into yourself. And so if that chakra is blocked, you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, you're dealing with a lot of fear, you're dealing with a lot of uncertainty about where you're going in life or what you're doing. So with that, with these meditations, I did a lot of chakra meditations, and there's seven chakras, so I did 7 days on each one. So I'm like, I'm gonna just do this repetitively 7 days. It takes about 30 days to form new habits. So I said, let me do this for 7 days, each chakra. That's seven chakras. Okay, we'll figure it out. And so, but aside from that, what was coming up for me was things that I'm realizing, well, along with unblocking this and just doing this part, what else can I do to make sure that I'm really activating this chakra? So when it comes to grounding, I'm like, okay, I'm not grounded. So what I'm going to do, and this is what I mean when I say we're able to create things for ourselves. We're able to, and it takes looking inside yourself and seeing what you need to work on so you can create your own medicine, right? So for me, when it came for grounding, I was like, okay, so I'm going to do the meditations, but I'm also going to put a timer on my phone that says be still. No matter where I'm at in this life, if I'm driving or if I'm running an errand, I got to take a moment to be still. My alarm will go off and it says be still. And I did that for the whole 7 days of working on the root chakra. And what I would do is I would just sit. I would feel where I'm at, the wind over my face. I don't care if I'm walking downtown. If it goes off, I'm going to just stop on the side of the street and just be still and get grounded, because that is a part of the root chakra, is becoming grounded in yourself. And so finding moments to do that. So I was able to tailor make a medicine that I needed because I had no grounding. I was all over the place doing everything. I'm a full-time mom. I was in school at the time. I needed to have those moments. And even as women and as people who are evolving and healing and just as people in general, we don't have time for that. There's so much going on. So in order for us to realize that that is something that is a necessity and that we deserve, you have to experience that. So I made myself experience that moment of grounding, and it feels so good to stop and just hear even if you're on a busy street, to stop with your eyes closed. You hear the buses and the cars driving by, you feel the energy of the people, but you're still within yourself. And so that was what I did for the root. And then for the sacral, solar, and so on, depending on what those represent and what areas I seen come up that needed help, I created tailor-made challenges for myself that allowed me to truly transform that area and truly unblock it, along with the meditation. So it's really just all about what we have to figure out what works for us. And so I did that with each chakra. And then after I did that and I fully unblocked those and I really felt like, wow, I really unblocked these chakras, I went ahead and I created imagery that reflected that by taking self-portraits of the areas where those chakras are located in our body, and then using Photoshop to create images that showed flowers blooming from that area. So that way and then also looking at myself in that light and in that way gave me confidence. It encouraged me. It made me, I was able to truly see myself transformed. And that's another thing. It's very important to be able to see the changes that we make within ourselves. So creating this art is healing for me, and it encourages me to keep going, and it motivates me, and I'm able to see myself. So everything that I create on with the internal growth series, I always utilize myself as the subject, because it is a true reflection of my healing and my evolution, and I utilize myself so other people can see themselves in the work.
Ashe. Oh, that is just so romantic. Like,
I love that you said romantic, because getting to know ourselves is the most romantic experience. It's so romantic. It's so intimate to be with yourself.
yeah.
And I really feel like when I'm with myself, I'm with the divine. And I think
Mhm.
that's the most beautiful experience ever. And romantic is exactly the word I use.
Oh yeah, felt girl. Like, oh my gosh, it is from grounding to stillness to make like one, acknowledging ourselves as the work of arts that we are, and then building on that with your own art of yourself. Like, all of it is so deeply romantic and beautiful, and it's rich and indulgent, and oh, I love it. I love it. um my experience with chakras, I feel like I'm still pretty novice, but I have been working with just feeling my chakras, feeling the pools of energy within myself and aligning them. I'm using my imagination and my inner eye during meditation and yoga to imagine my chakras in my body and how they're aligned when I'm in different poses, how they're moving with my body when I'm moving, making sure that that alignment is what I'm always coming back to. That's where I am right now. Now, in the future, I really do want to take some, well, I'm already doing it with my yoga practice. We're studying the chakras a bit, but I want to take some intentional time to learn them. And then I'm also really interested in Reiki. So that's something that ties obviously a lot to the chakras as well, that I intend to study more and implement into my personal practice and professional practice as well. Because I want a personal thing for me, like a desire that I would love to see fulfilled is indigenous people getting back into more indigenous practices. And that doesn't mean like it, well, that can mean honestly whatever it means to you, indigenous people. Let me leave it at that.
Yeah, we're indigenous for sure.
Yeah.
I want to say, first of all, Reiki, I commend you on that. See, I'm so sensitive, girl. I can pick up energy just by being next to somebody. So for you to want to be in community and heal people, because Reiki is you're literally moving people's energy and
Hmm.
you're touching people's energy. You're taking that on. Wow. And if you're called to do that, that means that you have the abilities and the gifts to do that. And there's something that, is within you that we need, in healing for that. I'm not called to do Reiki. I don't think that, so I commend people who do that, because that is a lot of energy work. You are carrying a lot, but also you're helping people who don't know how to heal themselves in those ways. And so I appreciate that, and I thank you for doing that. And I've had a Reiki session one time, years ago, and it was interesting. The person who did it was a good friend of mine. We weren't good friends at the time, but we became good friends later. And what I will say is, yes, it really works. It really truly works, and I think that it also showcases how connected we are to something greater than ourselves. That we're able to allow this source, this energy to come through us and move the energy is something else out of someone else and help them heal. So I think that's amazing.
The thing about it is like I've never done Reiki. I've never seen it done on anyone else. I've just heard about it and something in me said, yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that sounds right.
Yeah, you're supposed to be doing that. You're
Yeah,
definitely
I've
supposed to be
always
doing that.
it's just right at the back of my
Mm-hmm.
noggin, and I know that when the time comes, it'll come. What I'm actually was more surprised about, even though I've been practicing since I was 11, was yoga. I never thought that I would get a yoga certificate because, well, I just know it's not necessary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yoga is not a practice that you need a certificate for. You don't even need a yoga mat or a yoga block. It's about the body, it's about the connection to the divine. But I was like, well, I have a business license and I have all these other things. So why not just get the certificate?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Reiki, like these practices that are tied to knowledge, they're tied to you taking some time. No one I want to say who probably practices Reiki in a real way does so by just waking up one day and deciding they're going to practice Reiki. I think that these long standing indigenous practices, you know, you feel that you need to practice this. You need to have, a teacher, a master teach you the way. This
Mm-hmm.
is, you know what I mean? Like for me, that's just how it feels. I know that when the time comes for me to take that journey, someone will teach me. And I'll take the time and I'll learn and I'll read and I'll study and I'll practice and then I will get to where I see right now.
Yeah, it's that what you're saying is very reflective of that quote: when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So when it's time, when you're ready, it'll happen.
Yes, absolutely. I very much have been experiencing a lot of alignment in my life. The more that I do me, and
Mm-hmm.
I was told that pretty young that doing that was bad, like
Mm. Mm.
making choices that were good for me or not, not being the martyr, not laying it down. Like, you know how they're like, oh, if you're ever lost on social media, somebody has said this, mind you, so I'm not making it up.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was like, oh, I told my kid, if you're ever lost, like, just go find a black woman. Like, that's
Seen
not,
that. I seen that.
I'm not out here to be the martyr for the world. I'm not out here to be like, I'll save you and teach you white people. Like that's not me.
But
And
no,
I
not it.
want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
I am someone who I think my life would be fulfilled. I think that, and this will, I don't know, it might sound away. I think all Black people's lives would be worthy and fulfilled and doing just enough if we worried about our own healing and what was good for us and what benefited us and what built us. I think that would be a wonderful use of time and energy. And I think that would change the world.
And that, yes, I 100% agree with you. And that is literally what my whole entire body of work, internal growth, is about. In order for us to evolve as a society and have greater societal change, we have to be we're all the society individually. We make up the society. So going out and doing stuff for other people and trying to make other people change, no, they have to be willing to see the errors of their own ways and see where they're stagnant at and wanting to have change for themselves. And then in turn, that change will inspire others to want to change. We can't change the world by changing everybody else. We can only change the world by changing ourselves. And that is very, very important. And I feel like when people, if we have a movement of growth, a movement of internal growth, everybody's like, I want to be better. The world will be better, and I think that, not to get into politics because I'm really not political, but if we're looking at the state of our world right now, if we're looking at the people who are in leadership, we have to understand that the only reason that they're in these positions is because there's other people who are thinking like them and are able to put them in these positions. So those people, because it's like this, if a person is, let's say one person is being treated unfairly in a school, in any system, and there's other people who don't agree with that, the person who's being the bully or being the one who's treating someone unfairly, they're going to become the outcast because there's a society who does not agree with that. Now they're going to make you look like the outcast, and now nobody wants to be the outcast. But so they're never going to be able to come to power to any way. That behavior is not going to be able to continue in a society like that, who doesn't condone it, who doesn't support it. But if you have a society of people who think like that person, who's treating people a certain way, then they're going to be able to continue to do that harmful behavior to people. So we have to understand it's not one person who's doing it. It's everyone who's allowing that, who's condoning it, who's supporting it with their wrong thinking, and who's not looking at their part in the problem. It's and I'm tired of seeing on the internet how everybody is pointing at their fingers at everybody else and no one is looking at themselves. Everybody's looking out the window, but no one's looking in the mirror. And that's the issue. We need to look at ourselves, and we need to look at, and even like, for me, this is how I am a part of the solution, is by doing the work to evolve and to grow and to change, so that way anyone who comes across me, anyone who is experiencing me, no matter if you're right, wrong, whoever you are, when you experience me, you're going to experience the divine. You're going to experience love. You're going to experience peace. You're going to experience something that you may have never even known existed, because it exists, because I've created that within myself. And I think that's the most powerful thing, because nothing spreads faster than word of mouth and energy. So if you're able to experience an energy that you've never had, you may want to seek that on your own and figure out, well, how can I have that in my life all the time? Like, I've never had that before. And then that'll hopefully inspire you to go on the same journeys that I had to go on to change and become who I am. And I believe that that is the thing that will make us all become better as a community, as a society, as a people, if everyone is doing the individual work.
Yeah,
And we need to
I
focus on
agree.
ourselves. We need to
I
focus.
mean, yeah, I think we're beyond the point where that's needed, and society is showing it. Somebody just lit a toilet paper factory on fire.
And
Like,
I'll tell you this. I understand where he's coming from. His
oh no,
mindset is like, y'all ain't paying us enough.
he
Y'all not
was very clear.
like
He was
like
very clear. He
like
asked you for a livable wage. That's not asking for too much.
right.
That's not asking for a lot. We are at a time where people, they see and feel the exploitation. Some people, mental health is bad. People ain't got money. You're taking away rights that we just got.
Our
Like,
civil rights.
like we just got those rights like 50 years ago. Okay, like
Right.
rights was still new, still fresh. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, we can see all of that, and there's multiple ways to respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that the way that I'm responding is the only way. I think there's a lot of right ways to do things.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I think that any way that is not rooted in love for community is at risk of becoming the same thing. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Because those are games of exploitation. That's what we're all experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one who's getting out of this game. We all been exploited up in this bitch. And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing about it is we all can respond in the way that is true to us. Whatever is on your heart, right? Mine is self-love and relationship healing. That is the hill that I'm building. That's the lane that I'm curving because I think that people who love themselves love other people.
That's right.
They're
People.
not organizing human trafficking rings if you love
Mm-mm.
yourself.
No.
You are not out here creating food deserts if you love yourself.
Yeah, I always say the way we treat others is a reflection of how we treat ourselves. If you know who you are and you know that you are connected to something greater and you're able to recognize that in everyone. So therefore, any harm you do to someone else, you're literally doing it to yourself. Any
Right, because you understand the
I,
inherent
Yes,
connectedness.
I know. When I see you, Selena, I know that you're a reflection of me, and I'm a reflection of you. When I see someone who has less than I do, they are still a reflection of me. And
Yeah.
if I'm able to support them and be there for them, I love people through everything they're going through because there was a time where I didn't know who I was and I needed someone to love me through it. And now that I'm on the opposite end of that, we have to love people through what they are growing through. You know, some people ain't growing through it, they just going through it. But we need to love people through what they going through and recognize that some people don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I also want to say people who are doing harm, a lot of them don't know better. And so for me, it's like you can only imagine what type of life they truly have. You know, if you are out here creating harm to people, I can only imagine how you talk to yourself and treat yourself. If you're out here hurting others, you're hurting yourself. And it's like your life cannot be as beautiful as it could be because you have no awareness of self. So I give compassion to those people, not a pass because you're still wrong,
And
but
you go be accountable.
yeah, you gonna be accountable. And if I'm not the one holding you accountable, there are powers that be that will hold you accountable. But you ain't getting a pass, but you will get some compassion because I understand that the life that you're living could not be as beautiful as the life that I've experienced because of my awareness and my evolution and my growth. So I have compassion for the loss that you are enduring in this life, you know, to not experience it as it could be. So all I will say is when we get to know ourselves, which is very important, we should start focusing on getting to know ourselves, loving ourselves, and giving ourselves compassion and growing and spending time with ourselves in order to see everyone as ourselves.
Yeah. Yes. Girl, we have definitely talked about a lot of really good shit that I'm gonna be thinking about for a minute here,
Yay!
especially when it comes to transformation. Um, I'm thinking about my last words on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what's coming to me is that rehabilitation, because we talking about people doing wrong, and so I always have a little bit of space for people doing wrong. Because I be doing wrong sometimes too, right? Sometimes you don't even realize you did something wrong until after you did it. So rehabilitation is a part of transformation. Okay, you gotta do the work. You gotta acknowledge the wrong and do the work to get to that transformation. And it can look like different things for different people. My last words is you are responsible for your growth. You're responsible for your growth.
Mm-hmm.
You are responsible for your growth, healing community. And so we are members of community and we can support each other in our growth. We can be there for each other when we in the place that we don't need to be in. We can encourage people to come forward, but we can't do the work for them.
Mm-mm.
Some people you go have to leave them where they at. Even Harriet couldn't save everybody. Okay? That's not your job. You work on you, you be there for people who are there for you and for people who, are vulnerable.
Yes, I
That's
should.
my last words on
I
that.
guess my last words on this topic of transformation, evolution, healing is be fearless. Be fearless. The journey is it's unknown, but all possibilities and outcomes are capable or possible in the space of the unknown. So go forward fearlessly for that. And don't be afraid to let go of who you used to be in order to become something that you've never been. Because who you've never been may always be who you were meant to be.
Ooh. Bar. No, literally. Oh my gosh. And isn't that an exciting thought?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, maybe that's just where I am today, but that is so exciting and invigorating of a thought. That is life giving.
Yeah.
Just trust the process, trust your path, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So much power in it.
Mm-hmm. And you're worth it.
Amai, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I got so much from it. I'm just healing community. I really hope that this got to you
Mm-hmm.
when it was meant to.
I hope so too. Yes. Thank you so much. And if anyone wants to stay in contact, in touch with me, um, you can reach me on social medias. All social medias is Amai Arte, AMAIARTE. Website amaiarte.com. Anything that you want to find me on is just Amai Arte. So I hope to stay in contact with you all. I wish everybody the best on their journey. And yeah.
Yes, and Amai has a gorgeous exhibits that she does. Like she puts a space together, y'all, and creates another world. So definitely go out to her shows too when she's
You.
sharing her art. But y'all, oh my gosh. Thank you all for being a part of the healing community. Thank you for choosing yourself and wanting, you know what I mean, imagining with me a better world. I am Salenna Green, your host, and you can use the hashtag Hot Girls Healing on social media to join conversation. If you see me out in community, say hey. I'll see y'all next time.
Since I know you're tired, since I know you're stressed, you were always favored and you were always blessed. It's all about that. Hot girls healing. We doing it our way. Hot girls healing. We better day by day. Hot girls healing. We doing it our way. Hot girls healing. And it goes on.